out here watching the sun's set change color to the sky, you know, and listening to the birds. You can hear them. I started thinking about this dating app again as a self-realization tool. So I'm doing the free version, and I've been getting messages from guys, but not necessarily quality ones. Short attention span, flippant, and one was completely off the mark. Like the conversation he was having was with a completely different person. So, two of them gave me their numbers right away. Maybe it was three, I don't remember. But I'm not going to just meet anybody. And I'm thinking that these guys are trying to see whether or not I'm a bottom feeder. Well, they are. So it takes one to know one. It seems as if I know what one is, but I don't have to be one. So that expression sort of trite. It takes one to know one. That's what you would say to somebody if they called you a bottom feeder. Then you would say, it takes one to know one. But if I'm taking a look at the situation and here are these men bottom feeding, would that put me at the bottom according to the way they would believe? Yes. Okay, so if you're a guy and you're on this dating app and you're paying for the ability to email anybody, whether or not they're a premium member, through the app, wouldn't you do that? And wouldn't you try to see who was easy just for some sex? I mean, wouldn't you? So from my experience, that's what I've experienced. And you have to be like, no, man, no. But the problem I had was I was too eager to have a date with somebody besides myself. But now I'd rather be with my own company. How things have changed. I'd much rather be in my own company and meet people by chance and love my fate. I'm more fatigued than I want to meet up with somebody because we have something in common. We're both single. That's not enough. You like breweries? I like breweries too. But in conversation and messaging, I've discovered that these guys, if they're not able to write coherent sentences, I can't expect them to have the capability of having a coherent thought. I require mental stimulation. Otherwise, in other words, there has to be a conversation, not just a coexistence and a getting along, but actually conversation. Converse. Pros and cons. So maybe we're going to have something else besides a conversation. Maybe we're going to have a how do you say something positive about communicating? I don't want to hear how somebody's day went. I want them to be present with me. That's the past. Can you be in the present now? So anyway, I find my own company much more pleasant than to be with a man right now because they've been so demanding. And now I realize it's because I have not been demanding enough. And that's not to say that I'm going to do all of this angry woman demanding of a man thing. No. It just means that I demand of myself to have a good conversation with somebody who can speak the English language to my level of satisfaction. And it starts first with the written word. So why would I bother going out and meeting somebody for a beer just because we have two things in common? We're single and we like breweries. When I can go myself and weed this person out because they would just be a waste of my time, and perhaps I would be a waste of theirs, depending upon how they looked at it and what their intentions were. I'm not Florence Nightingale. Some of these guys, I feel like being a Florence Nightingale nursemaid to their awful profiles. It's like, dude, if there's a rewriting a profile service, $100 an hour, I'll do it. I'm sure I can rewrite it in at least an hour. Take some better photographs of you. It's like, okay, the underneath the chin shot, okay, the in the car shot, in the bathroom shot. Either of these scream I'm lazy or I'm married. So when you go onto a dating app as a woman, you're basically going out there into a shark tank. Just don't be a bleeder. Don't bleed your heart and soul. And don't bleed your energy. Like, there's some lost causes out there for men. And I'm sure men can say the same thing about women. But I value myself. So right now, I'm doing the free thing, meaning I'm not paying anything. I'm just developing my sense of self. And witnessing how this all goes down. And I decided I'm going to have the patience of an oyster and persevere with how I'd like to go forward. So, okay, so here's the metaphor or the tongue-in-cheek humor. So, on the physical level, I'm being cheap because I'm not paying for a membership to this particular dating app. It's very popular. One of the most popular one that I know of, that gives you more autonomy. So I'm not going to tell you which one, in case there's copyright infringement or something like that later. This is better to just leave it general as a dating app that stresses a relationship, but people do still use it for hooking up, but that's not its intention. I forgot where I was going. It was important. It's this. So I'm not paying for the app because the people, the men, I see that, okay, they make you say person, human. You can't say, in your profile, you can't say man, woman, I want a strong man. You have to say, I want a strong person. So, okay, back to the point. It's so difficult sometimes to stay on task when there's so many other things to interject. But okay, the format of the payment structure. I decided I am going to do the free membership in order to meet only those men right now who pay for premium. That means they can message anybody, and as long as they've messaged them, that person can message them back. Well, I think there's a lot of men on there that are doing it because they figure she's easy. She's just out there temporarily. She hasn't committed to the membership. She's cheap because she's not paying for the membership. I bet you I could take her out to eat a couple times and get in some, ooh la la, coochie coo. So I'm thinking that's the way these guys are thinking. And that's okay. Men are men. That's why I love them. I do. I really do love men. But I like the men that have kept their bodies in shape. Because I'm not perfect, but you know what? I am in relatively great shape. So I expect the same in a partner. I just don't settle for the guys who they don't have a jawline. You have to have a jawline. Not having a jawline is a deal breaker. There's a bunch of others that I now am aware of, whereas before, when I did this, in 2010, 10, I didn't know how to do this stuff. Now, we're wise. Word to the wise, in other words, those who would listen to advice. Hold your cards close to your vest and play the game slowly, women. Because most of these guys, all right, so back to they're either married or they don't have a jawline, you know? Whew. So I go, okay, it's metaphor. I'm cheap and they're going to pay for it. And then I'm like, wait a minute. No. Let's turn it around. Let's look at this perspective. I want them to pay for me. Meaning, if these guys want to see the entire spectrum of women out there on this dating app, they're going to pay for the intro to all women, access to all women, including the ones that they think or may assume are cheap and easy. So once I've done that for a bit, at least 6 months, okay? We're only in 2021. It's going to be the year of the water tiger starting in February, which is my birth year, so it's my lucky year, actually. But it means I'm going to be creating the soil. I'm not jumping into a relationship. It's going to be one of those 9-month gestation period things. That's going to be the indicator, I think. Somebody that knows how to take it slow. Yeah. So right now, I'm not cheap and I'm not easy, but I've got a cheap dating app I'm using so that I can easily find through the written word the men I would want to have nothing to do with, ever face to face. It's such a better technique than I used before 11 years ago, and I highly recommend it. Write words, don't give away your cell phone number, communicate with them, keep the history so that you can see it, and the only way it goes poof is if they block you because you have insulted them or you pissed them off because of some reason that their shallow ego is not able to handle. I pissed off some guy that was enlightened. He told me he was enlightened. Anyway, I did not take screenshots. So word to the wise, tip number 2, amongst other tips. Tip infinity. What was I going to tell you? Oh my goodness, I've lost my train of thought. Trying to amuse myself. Yeah, it's their conversation. If they're not, the bubbles. You can watch the bubbles to find out, your conversation, their conversation, your comfort, just like a text message. You get to keep track of the company history, and if it gets really kind of funny for you for amusement purposes, I missed out on my opportunity to screenshot from Mark the drummer, who's a bodhisattva, he says, and is enlightened, but blocked me after I asked him a couple questions that were innocent enough. Anybody that's enlightened would never do anything like that. So I imagine he's probably one of those people that have one of those off-balance egos, and he's 5'7". So he's got 2 things to overcome. It's getting dark out, and just wanted you to stay tuned to my source of amusement and the way I see things now. So, when I'm ready, 9-month gestation period has happened, then I will pay for my membership and hone my skills, and or not. I might just be like, hey, I'm not paying anything for this service. Anybody worth finding me would actually find me by going on premium and not thinking I was the low-hanging fruit or the rotting fruit on the vine. So this is a test of their character, you see? All right, I'll fill you in. The day has ended.